All right, y'all ain't know how Steppin with Marcus J is live. We in the building. It's the 5th Monday of the month. And y'all, we normally don't do anything crazy on the 5th Monday. But you know what? We're going to change that trend. We're going to act up. We got a lot to get into tonight. We got special guests in the building. We got special guests on the line. It's Michael Jackson's birthday. We playing his music all night. It's the flagship show of Legacy Internet Radio, and you are listening to it. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J. It's live. It's right now.
Yeah. It's about that time. It's about that time to get. Yeah.
Button your lip. Open your ears. Strap on your thinking cap. Socially conscious talk that's entertaining with a dash of humor and the top sports stories of the week. It's time for Ain't No Half Steppin' with Marcus J.
Sellers has Jordan. Jordan with 2 seconds to go. Puts it up and scores at the buzzer. Michael Jordan has won it for Chicago. Manning lobs it. Burris alone. Touchdown, New York.
Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier. He hits one deep to right center. That ball is out of here. The Yankees win the pennant.
If they lying, then they must be half stepping. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J is live. We in the building. Y'all be down with us. 804-402-2893. Be part of the flagship show. Heard live from the den. Legacy Internet Radio every Monday night at 7 p.m. Eastern. Thanking everybody for rocking with us. We appreciate those folks that are checking in right now on TuneIn, as well as those folks on Streamer. We getting love from the folks on the website, www.legacyinternetradio.com. Y'all rocking with us. We rolling with y'all. We appreciate those folks that are checking in right now in our home city of the Cap City, Richmond, VA, as well as my birth city of Jersey City, New Jersey, and my adopted city of Atlanta, GA. We got a very, very special guest that's joining us on the live line. I'm going to introduce him, and he's going to introduce our guest for the evening, my brother, partner, and oldest friend. Y'all know him as our brother K-Dub. He's on the live line. What's up, bro?
I'm good, man. What's going on with you and the family?
Man, we good, man. It's good to hear your voice, man. You doing all right?
Hey, I'm doing good. If you can hear my voice, then I'm doing excelente,
yeah,
even
man,
though I know that's not a word.
Yeah, it's good to be seen and not viewed, right?
Hey, all day long.
My brother. All right, well, we have a very special guest that is joining us on the live line. So I'm going to stand back and hand the con over to you, as they say on Star Trek.
Appreciate it, man. So, ain't no half-stepping listening audience. I would like to introduce a motivational speaker, an educator, an author, principal of the Mott Hall Bridges Academy. I apologize. Wanted to make sure I get that correct. The principal of the Mott Hall Bridges Academy in Brooklyn, New York. My friend and a black girl who rocks, literally, my friend Nadia Lopez. How you doing, sis?
I'm good, K-Dub. Thank you so much for having me on the show today.
Well, thank you for allowing me to interview you the day before your big day. For those of you that may or may not know, Nadia has a book coming out tomorrow, The Bridge to Brilliance, How a Principal in a Tough Community is Inspiring the World. So I know that she's been being pulled in all different directions, from doing television interviews as well as print interviews. So I personally want to say thank you for allowing me to take a bit of your time to introduce you to those that may not be familiar with you and your work. So I'm not going to waste any time. I'm just going to jump right into it. For those that do not know, could you just kind of give me a description of what you do at Mott Hall?
Well, I'm the founding principal. So in 2010, I was given the opportunity by the New York City Department of Education to open up a school, a middle school, and the area that they selected was Brownsville, Brooklyn. So it's very much similar to like Jersey City or Newark area, high poverty, high crime, low graduation rate. But while it was a challenge, to me, it's one of the beautiful challenges of making sure that our children of color are educated. They receive environment where they're nurtured and honored, but at the same time providing them with discipline that's going to hold them accountable for their actions. Mm-hmm. So it's a co-ed school. It is a school that is primarily for children that live in the Brownsville community, so I don't get to pick my kids. They come to me through a lottery process. I'm not a charter school, but some people do get it confused for the simple fact that I call my students scholars because I believe that they are lifelong learners, and just because school ends at 2:30 or 3 o'clock doesn't mean that their education stops. And they wear uniforms. They wear the colors purple and black because I want them to be reminded that they're descendants of greatness, and through education they can reclaim excellence. So that's pretty much what I do. I just teach kids that they're going to take over this world, and we make it happen.
That's awesome. That is so awesome. So what made you, or what inspired you to open up the school?
What really inspired me was I had the opportunity of opening up an all-girls school as a founding teacher back in 2006, and it was a great opportunity in which I was able to learn the process of branding a school, knowing how you come up with a mission and vision, developing programming, recruiting students, recruiting teachers, and, everything was perfect. I really love my job. I love empowering my girls, but at the end of the day, I just felt like there needs to be a balance, and if there's a lot of focus on our young women, who's actually taking the time to ensure that our young men are getting the same exact attention. And so I wanted to create a co-ed school, and the only way I could do that was actually to be able to put forth a proposal, in which I did, and that's how I got my All-Purpose Academy to be open. But it didn't come easy. It took 2 years for the Department of Ed to say, we're going to go ahead and authorize you space and give you the funding that's needed. But it really was about just creating balance.
So you made mention to that it not being easy. What would you say are some of the challenges that you had faced when you were trying to open it up, and what are some of the challenges that you face currently in regards to running your school?
I mean, there are so many that I could list, but first and foremost, it's when you're not directly from the community. So I'm from Brooklyn, but I'm not necessarily from Brownsville, and when you come into a community that has been oppressed for so long and deprived of opportunities, you have to develop a certain amount of trust. They love for their own, and when I mean their own folks within their community, to be able to be the ones to create spaces for them. But in this regard, I just had to make it very clear that I was there for the benefit of the community. I wasn't trying to take advantage or exploit them. Mm-hmm. So it was a hot summer. It was one of the hottest summers that particular year in 2010, and I had to go through block parties on the weekends. I had to go into the housing developments during the week. I was on the corners handing out cupcakes, basically just trying to bribe people into saying, taking a chance on me. And I wasn't afraid to do those things because I felt at the end of the day, if something goes wrong in my building and I got to go to somebody's house, I'm going to go to your house in the projects. Let's be clear about that. Mm-hmm. But it also, being a woman of color, people don't make things easy for you. They question your motives. They question how you got to your position. And I had to remind folks, lack of better words, nobody's trying to seek their way into doing this. You have to want to do it. You have to be called to do it. And I'm not sitting here trying to compromise myself or jeopardize my reputation because I'm doing what I feel like we're supposed to be doing and creating a village mentality that says our children can succeed. We lacked a lot of funding because when we opened up the school, we were supposed to have 84 kids. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, there was a court injunction that didn't allow another school to close so we could get those kids. I had to go out there and hustle. So we opened up the school with 24 scholars in the building. but because we didn't meet what was supposed to be that bigger number, the 84, I lost $250,000. So that meant no technology. That meant I couldn't choose what type of textbooks I wanted in my building. We just lacked a lot. But I had to get on my grind. Like we learned how to make $10 out of 5 cents. We make it happen. It was not going to be an excuse. I made phone calls. I had friends who would come through and do favors in terms of, coming to speak to the kids, just showing up if you needed resources. Beverly Bonds from Black Girls Rock actually had wrote a check just to give our kids uniforms because a lot of our kids couldn't afford the uniforms. So it was people just stepping up and making sure that I wasn't going to fail, and neither were these kids.
That's awesome. It's awesome to have, people to support you and support your idea, especially for something such as this, which is for the betterment of our children as well as the community as a whole. Let me ask you, with the way that the social climate is currently, and 4 years ago when you did decide to open the school, with the social climate being the way that it is, how has it shaped you in regards to how you're running the school, or how you had to change the way that you're running the school?
I'm not going to really say like the social climate as that's currently happening has changed how I run the school. I think that honestly I've been informed. History is repeating itself, and I remember one time you and I were sitting talking about Jenna 6 and how you went down because you just wanted to be part of what was going on. Even like conversations like that where I felt like our children just need to be aware of what's going on just in general. And unless they understand that what happens to people of color in our nation is not something that just happened today. It's been going on for a period of time. So if nothing else, it helps to inform my decisions on the type of programming we have in the school. So, for instance, we have I Matter, which focuses on our young men. And back in the day, I used to have, it was called My Brother's Keeper when we first opened up the school. But what did not work was that too many men felt like I was asking for a commitment that was going to be a lifelong commitment. And so they wanted to know how long they had to be part of this program. And I was just like, it's not. I just need 2 hours of your time. If you could just volunteer, if you could just show up, if you have a resource, if you have a connect, whatever it is. And so eventually when I started to see like the Trayvon Martin incident, and then you had the incidents that was just happening in Brownsville itself, I was just like, these young men, how do they even know that they matter? How do they know beyond just making it home every night that someone cares about them and that they're valuable? And it just made it, common sense to say, well, why don't we just tell them, like, remind them and affirm I matter. So that's how I Matter came to be. So because of that, we have 6 programs that happen throughout the year. We create cohorts of young men throughout Brownsville that come together. We partner with universities and various government agencies to host these events. We talk about things like law and order from a social justice perspective, where our young men talk about the issues that happen over the summer. And unfortunately, it's always somebody, a male who dies at the hands of law enforcement, and we want to make sure that they are understanding of what's going on within their communities and beyond, but also to have their questions answered. So we actually get the U.S. attorney, district attorney, it could be the officer, whatever. We get all of these people to come together in a space to talk about what can they do as citizens, how can they become productive and not become angry at the process. And then, we do the same for our young women. We have She Is Me, because oftentimes our girls don't understand that us women of a certain age have gone through the same things they've gone through. However, they're in a different day and time with social media and what they're exposed to. So we want them to be reminded that they are queens, and there's a certain way that you need to conduct yourself. Your intelligence should speak for itself before anything else. And then also just showing them that there are positive women in their community who are doing things. So that's part of the curriculum. It's not something that I deem special. I just think it's something that's quite necessary and should be part of what is the fiber of a school.
Okay. So, and this is Nadia Lopez, principal of Mott Hall Bridges Academy in Brooklyn, New York. I made mention earlier to your book, which is coming out tomorrow. Congratulations on that. The book is called The Bridge to Brilliance, How One Principal in a Tough Community is Inspiring the World. My question in regards to the book, what prompted you, or what was your inspiration and motivation for writing this particular book?
Honestly, I just didn't see books that were being created that really spoke about educators who were in the classroom, who weren't far removed from being in the classroom, who could really talk about, from a perspective of a principal, what it really requires to open a school and sustain it. And so people think, oh, you have summers off. It's not that bad. You have your weekends. And I'm just like, no, that's not actually true. As a principal, I work all year round. We may have days off that we're allowed to take, but there's just so much work that has to be done that doesn't happen. And then there's the stories of the kids. Like, they go through so much. There's things that, adults wouldn't want to go through that they have to face on a day-to-day. And so it's given insight to what are the real struggles, but how you get a community with a leader who just believes that the only excuses we have in the world is the fact that we don't take care of our own. And if we keep waiting for people to come save us, then we're always going to be at a loss. So I make no excuses. I just make it happen. And I just wanted to share that story. And also, I wanted my kids to know that they're that valuable, and people needed to hear their stories as well as my staff. So, I was inspired to do it, and, I'm wishing that people really enjoy it. I've gotten, really great feedback thus far, so I'm excited.
I'm excited for you. I'm excited for you. I'm going to take you back a bit real quick. I'm going to take you back to December 2014. You, I, my wife, we were all discussing, you know where I'm going. We were discussing, what was going on with you. And full disclosure, this is my friend, so I was privy to some information. But December 2004, kind of tell the audience what our discussion was and how you felt at that particular time.
So I have a home down in Georgia, and I go religiously every year. I drive down. And this particular year, I had just been facing challenges in terms of I was tired. I was overwhelmed. I was exhausted. I felt like my staff had hit a wall, the kids had hit a wall, and I definitely wasn't feeling inspired or encouraged. And so I wasn't even going to make it down to Atlanta because it snowed, and so it was making driving really difficult. Ironically, I went to see Selma on the 26th, and the next day we drove down just straight. And you came to the house with Bree, and I was venting. I was frustrated, and I was ready. Even then, I was ready to hang it up. I felt like I wasn't really making a difference. And I was contemplating what my next steps would be. But I think like maybe 4 or 5 days after that, I sat down and I was reading my vision book in the house. So I decided I was going to write my vision out, make it plain, and not be negative Nancy or Debbie Downer. I got back to New York. I felt a little bit better. I was ready to get it in. And then it felt like nobody else had a moment of reflection, and I was done. And I was in my building. It was a Saturday. I had gotten there at 8, and it was like 6 o'clock. The custodian was like, "Miss Lopez, it is time to go." And I was done. And I remember going home and crying and telling my mother, I'm going to write my letter of resignation. I can't do this another day. I'm tired. I just want to be a mom. And she told me to pray, and I was just like, I'm not about to pray. No, today ain't going to be the day. I'll pray tomorrow, maybe it will be Sunday. And she told me that, God had chosen me to be in this space and that I needed to realize that nothing was going to come easy. But I'll be honest, I couldn't hear a word. Like, I couldn't take in what she was saying. It wasn't until the Monday, which was Martin Luther King Day, and it almost connects me back to Selma, that whole idea of, here's this man who's done so much. Who am I to act like I can't push and do a little bit more? Mm-hmm. And so at the school, we were having a leadership conference. The school should have been closed, and I was kind of frustrated. But I took a minute to just pray in my office, and I was just like, God, whatever you want me to do, I'll do it. And I apologize for being angry. And I'll be real honest. Once I did that, it was like a weight was lifted off of my shoulder. And I kind of had that moment where I was like, if you're going to just show me what you want me to do, I'll do it. And by that afternoon, when I went to go see a play with Aint, is when I saw a picture of Vidal on Humans of New York, the post that came up. And I thought something happened to him because he had on a hood. And, in that moment, it's like hoodies was associated with young black men, meant something must have happened. So I couldn't read my phone because they were like, you need to turn it out because there needed to be lights out in the house of the theater. So I literally had to wait an hour. And when I checked it, they were like, all of these people saying, this is you, this is the Dow. Like, my staff had texted me, and then I had kids of mine who had graduated text me. And then I look at the post, and I'm like, what is going on? And why would he say that I was his major influence? And I could not understand or comprehend, but really it was just like God just saying, this is what I chose you to do, and you can't give up. Like, this is the work you're supposed to do. And so for it to take a young man with this hood in this particular climate, for it to be on Martin Luther King Day, everything was kind of full circle. Mm-hmm. And so I just had to own in that moment that I've been chosen to do this. And the saving grace that has always been my saving grace has been the children.
Exactly. And just so to kind of boast about my friend, soon after, I'm sitting home and I have the TV on mute, and all of a sudden I see your picture come up on NBC Nightly News, and then a week later you're on Ellen, and then a week after that you're in a magazine, and then sometime after that you're being honored by Black Girls Rock. I mean, you had the opportunity to meet Michelle Obama, Erykah Badu, and a number of different other people. So, I'm going to sit here and boast you. Right now I'm looking at the article that came out yesterday talking about your book in the New York Post. So, I guess, your prayer went answered. When you ask God to, put you in the right position to let you know that you're doing the correct thing, he blessed you, I would say, with an abundance of things to show you that you are doing the thing that you were chosen to do, and this is your particular purpose. So, if I've never told you before, I just want to say that I am uber proud of you. I'm proud of the work that you've done. I'm proud that you've taken on a challenge and you just have run with it in a community that, whenever anyone hears about Brooklyn, there's a number of different things that people think about. And I'm just going to say that, out of the top 5, maybe 3 of them may not be all of that positive, but right. Again, I just want to say I appreciate the work that you're doing with the kids and what you're doing in the community. And again, like I said earlier, I want to thank you for taking the time out of your schedule to sit down and speak to the Ain't No Half Steppin' listening audience. So what I want to do is just end this by, what your final words would be, and if you have any information that you would like to give my listening audience, we're all ears.
Well, I would always say follow your passion and be strong in your conviction. I think that oftentimes we look for the easy way out, and we are often dissuaded by others and their fears. And if you stay within your conviction and what you believe to be true for yourself, that's all that matters. Because because we're all created in a wonderful manner, and we need to honor who we are and what makes us unique and talented. In addition to that, in 2 weeks, I believe, it's September 13th, I will be on TED Talk on PBS, so you can check your local listing. So that's really exciting, and it'll come out on the TED platform September 21st. People want to follow me and see what it is I'm doing, what I'm up to. You can follow me on The Lopez Effect, and that's all my social media handles, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. And you can see, all the great updates, whether it's the school or things that I'm doing in communities in general. And that's it. And, at the end of the day, Kishara, K-Dub, spoke of stuff. I appreciate it. I love you, and what keeps me motivated and going is the fact that I have people who always look out and check in. And so I think as a community, that's something that we always need to be reminded of. A simple phone call, a simple check-in can go a really long way. And you know me from started at the bottom, now we here.
Yeah, for real.
Literally.
Literally.
Years. So, I love and appreciate you just the same.
We love you. We appreciate you. And we thank you. We thank you. And listen, whenever you have another, something that you want to blast out, or you have an event or something that you want to get publicized, by all means, you have my number, and we have the platform of Ain't No Half Steppin' with Marcus J to get the message out there. And again,
and thank you so much, Marcus.
No,
yes,
thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. I sat back and I just been listening and just kind of taking it in, and it's been very awesome listening to the great things that you're doing, and I look forward to, an opportunity to speak with you again, because I can tell by just listening to the things you're doing now, you're going to continue to do great things, and there's going to be another opportunity to build with you on the next phase of your greatness. So I want to thank you for joining us and speaking with our brother Kate with regards to what you're doing and what's going on. You are, in fact, a black girl who rocks. So thank you for being with us. Ain't No Half Steppin' with Marcus J. Live from the Den, Legacy Internet Radio. We're going to take our first break of the night. And when we come back, we are going to talk about a very, very cool event that we have coming up right here in the capital city, Richmond, Virginia, RVA. We've got the Peace Festival, and we're going to talk to one of our special friends about it, Marcus J. and the crew. Ain't No Half Steppin' with me and you. Be back in a few.
Hey, this is Warren Ballantyne, the number one truth writer in America, and I'm listening to my man, my brother, Marcus J. right here on Legacy Internet Radio.